Welcome back to Cheche, live on Citizen TV. Musalia Mudavadi's ambition to be president of Kenya is well known. He ran and came third in the 2013 general election, after which his then party, the United Democratic Front, or UDF, agreed to work with the then Jubilee coalition. In 2015, Mr. Mudavadi formed a party, the Amani National Congress, and last year he initiated the formation of NASA, the opposition super alliance, which is now trying to work out who its flag bearer should be. And before the break, we were getting to your aspirations to be the NASA flag bearer. Why should it be you?
Well, first of all, I wish to serve the people of Kenya in the capacity of president. Okay, that is one important issue. And I want to bring in broader inclusivity in the management of public affairs in this country. I would also like to see politics being seen and taken more seriously in this country.
What do you mean? Politics is the blood of this country,
I mean, let me put it this way. We have seen some very unfortunate trends evolving around matters of politics in this country, where people are looking at it not as a service to the people, but they're looking at it in the context of being a game of deceit, being a game of simply outmaneuvering each other and sitting on a particular post. Basically, the dignity of politics in this country has seriously been eroded. And I think we need to bring some serious order in terms of ensuring that the choices that we make, the leadership that we want to put in place in various public positions is now taken more seriously. It becomes more accountable to the Kenyan people and respects certain basic values of public office management. Now, these are issues that I strongly believe are lacking, and in the process we have been losing focus and giving what you might call a very dangerous example to the future generations about what politics is all about.
So why you?
And then I also want to be able to offer honesty and to offer trust.
We'll get to the matter of trust
in the leadership of the country.
We'll get to the matter of trust in a minute, yes. But let's just go through the line of core principles in NASA. Why do you think you're better than, say, Raila Odinga, who, as Mutegi pointed out before the break, has contested an election? In fact, twice contested elections, believes, half of the country believes that he won 2 elections and twice he's been robbed.
No, I think what I want to put across is that I'm not going to fall into a trap of comparing myself with my core principles in that context.
In what context?
In the context of saying, why do you think
you're better?
That you're better? I think that may be the wrong phraseology. The question should be, why do I think I can do it? Okay, and what I want to point out is... No, you've already pointed that out. You've told us why you think you can do it. You've told us why you want to do it. But given that there are 4 of you sitting in a boardroom trying to work out who should be the presidential flag bearer, why should it be you and not Raila? My dear friend, let me put it this way. I want to state very, very clearly that being in there and us arguing, we are putting on the table what you would call values that would enable you to win. For instance, we would be asking ourselves, to what extent is there broad acceptability in the country? Is it just purely a matter of populism? Or is it somebody or a situation that has now evolved and people may want to see a different kind of approach to leadership? I am not abrasive, if I may put it that way. I am firm in what I speak about and what I do, but I'm not abrasive. Am I a polarizing personality? Maybe, maybe not. But these are values, for instance, or characteristics that people will be looking at. I will be persuading my colleagues, or I want those who will be looking at the consensus to be open-minded. And as far as I'm concerned, we are all very competent individuals.
But your choice of language, though, is quite interesting when you say that you're not a polarizing influence.
Not abrasive.
Not abrasive, and that you'll be seen as a unifying force, which, of course, we know some of your core principles have been accused of being. Raila Odinga, you know, is seen as being a polarizing force, so that you have in an election, half of the country votes for him, the other half go the other way. Abrasive, Moses Wetangula is seen as being abrasive. And Kalonzo Musyoka, well, you know, again, he carries the baggage of the 2007 election where he walked out. And there are those who say because of that, because of his refusal to work with ODM and Raila Odinga, Kenyans fought and killed each other. And so you're trying to diplomatically say that you do not come with that baggage, but you won't mention the names of your co-principals.
I think there are some things that maybe need to be put in perspective. Did Kenyans fight because Kalonzo chose not to? Because if you go back a little bit,
well, if he hadn't walked out, there would have been a clear and decisive victory.
I think let's put it this way. At that time, I was Raila's running mate in 2007-2008 election. We also won that election. I would put it that way. But let's look at it this way. Did people fight because Kalonzo walked away, or did people fight because the election was stolen? There's a distinction here.
So if not Musalia Mudavadi, then who?
Well, therefore.
Who will be your next alternate?
Therefore, no, I cannot do that. I will not tell you that, because that is not a fair question, because that would be tantamount to me endorsing somebody else. So that's we leave for another day. But what I want to say is this, that we need to put it in perspective, that what has caused trouble in this country is not about somebody shifting political alliances. What has caused trouble in this country is when people do not do things right. When elections are not handled such that people believe they are free and fair. That is what causes the problem. And that is what generated the violence of 2007-2008.
When you said you'll do inclusivity with your the flag bearer, inclusivity means what? That when you win, you are going to appoint cabinet or people who maybe from Jubilee also. Inclusivity means
inclusivity means Kenyans from all parts of the country. All right. So if NASA wins and we want to win, and we want to win democratically, and that is what we are going to do, to win in a democratic process, we will want to make sure that the government of the day truly reflects national integration across the board. It should not be where you're born or where you come from, but you should have a right to hold any particular post based on the merit and the qualifications of that particular
But if we go back to the flag bearer, I want to exhaust it before we move on. There was the opinion poll at the weekend, which seemed to suggest that of the four of you principals, that Raila Odinga remains the most popular. Is that something you'd agree with? What did you think of the poll?
No, I don't agree with it. I've always had my reservations about these polls. And
about the polls in general?
Polls in general. And we have seen there may be a tool to help in guiding people, but there's been a certain opaqueness about polls conducted in Kenya, which has never quite been answered. Normally, who has funded it, who was sampled, and what have you. They'll give you those statistics. But all I can tell you is that even in countries like in countries where there's more developed polling methodology, they have now shown that they're failing on some of them. The last one was the Trump one. Everybody assumed that Hillary Clinton was going to win, and even up to the last few days, the polls still showed that Hillary was going to clinch the position. Then Trump took it. We saw the Brexit thing. At that time, again, the pollsters were saying that Cameron and his team were going to win. Then there was the Israel election, where they were saying Netanyahu was going to lose, and Netanyahu ended up winning.
So is that a comment on the fallibility of polls,
yes, and
or whether they're used as a tool of manipulation?
Yes, and then here, that is both ways. But here, and in fact, as far as I'm concerned, the person who did those polls,
Infotrack.
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, it's a serious disservice to the NASA fraternity that when they're going through a very delicate process, that you'd want to release those kind of polls. If the purpose is to help in cementing the process, unless the purpose is completely different, maybe to either prop up an individual or to completely try and throw a spanner into the works during this very delicate process, I would actually advise the team here that let us take this. When I say the team, let us take the process of identifying our flag bearer very seriously, and this is the time when we should be very careful that we are not influenced by maybe simulated arrangements out there. Let us keep our eye on the ball and make sure that the person that comes out because the genuine aspects and true values within the context of the NASA criteria has been taken into account.
How would you respond to people who say that this, consensus building process is a sham, that the flag bearer is already known, and what the three of you might be jostling for is the running mate position? Maybe not even three, two.
That is very unfortunate. The other day I was talking to the Pili Pili radio, and I told them, people keep on undermining and underrating what teamwork is all about. All right?
But it's the examples you set for us.
Well, let me tell you. I have a nickname. They call me Messi.
Not Phantom?
That's the school days. But in the current arrangement, they say this is Messi on the football. And I was telling the people on this Pili Pili radio, I told them, look, if you took Messi and you put him on the pitch alone against a very weak team of 11 people, no matter how good he is, he'll be seen as nothing. Alright? So the message I'm putting here is that whether you have a Ronaldo in our team, whether you have a Messi, whether you have a Suarez, whether you have a Neymar, unless they're working as a team, this negative angle of trying to project Musalia Mudavadi as the sole person who would do it, or Wetangula as the sole person who will do it, or Raila as the sole person who will do it, or Kalonzo as the sole person who will do it, is a negative approach, because this is teamwork, and victory for NASA will only come when we appreciate and value each other as members of a team.
You have mentioned several times that NASA is a very delicate arrangement. Are you confessing that you are standing on sand and that what you people are doing is just putting up a brave face?
No. To build a good house, you must have a foundation that is built on rock and not on sand. So when I say it's a delicate arrangement, it is a delicate arrangement because we want to have the foundation of NASA right. Okay, that is what we mean. So we want to do it systematically so that the underlying issue within the NASA context must always be seen that the strength lies in the unity.
I don't know what unity is there. First of all, you're not going to have joint nominations, which means, like in Mombasa, for instance, you're not going to have Joho fighting with
Hassan Omar and Awiti Bolo.
Yeah. Now, the same thing will happen with the governors. So you have
in Kakamega we have Oparanya and Alwali.
My friend, but let me you cannot, competition and unity are very different things. It does not mean that if you have lack of competition, then that is when there is unity. Come on, we have to be serious here. This is the whole idea of a competitive process in terms of more people showing interest is good and healthy for the National Super Alliance, because then it shows that people have an attachment to this arrangement.
It means
and we should encourage a process where if people are coming forward and they feel they want to compete for the posts, that is healthy. Now, if you reach a stage as it is now in the Jubilee, what is obvious is that the incumbents want to retain their positions. That does not mean that there's unity in Jubilee. But that's a very different configuration. I mean, even as we speak, there are guys within Jubilee who are also thinking of walking away.
Yeah.
Okay, for their own reasons. But the fact of the matter is this: these two gentlemen who are there because they are the incumbents. Okay. Now, if you declare yourself as the sole candidate, then does that mean that because you have declared yourself the sole candidate, then there is no issue here? So let's distinguish between competition and a situation of what is there.
So let's hear from our viewers, and the question we're asking them, which you'll have heard, is what they think about your prospects for 2017, whether you would be the NASA presidential flag bearer, and whether they would vote for you. So let's start with Mashuma at the coast. Mudavadi would make a great president, and any of the NASA principals would. The question of NASA leaders being in previous governments is neither here nor there. They've never been presidents before. Uhuru and Ruto held powerful dockets in previous governments too. And then we have the NASA flag bearer can be any one of the four leaders. But what counts about Mudavadi and any other is that who can hold the voters together after the contest of flag bearer. That's the Reverend Ojanji Mbusi, and that speaks to cohesion, which I'd like to hear you talk about. Good morning, Cheche. Mudavadi is a cool leader, but I believe he's a Raila project. He came up with NASA as a spoiler for Kalonzo's chances of becoming a flag bearer, as per the 2013 Accord MOU. Believe me, Cheche, Mudavadi entrance will cause voter apathy in Lower Eastern, Ukambani, we spoke about this earlier. No Kalonzo, forget our votes, and that's Eric and Machakos. Good morning. Mudavadi is suited to be the flag bearer of NASA, and Kenyans stand and expect reform from the country. That's Mboma and Sotik. So again, mixed views. On the whole, it seems that although there's one who shouts no, no, Musalia and the rest of NASA excuse me please, are corrupt. Better Dida. It's David in Nairobi. So on the whole, I think there's some you seem to appeal to people, but of course there are questions about your motivation. And so the question I would ask you is why you think you would be the best suited person to unseat a Jubilee government, given Raila Odinga's track record at the polls. Twice he has come close, even one, and twice has been, robbed of that. You came third in 2013. So surely, wouldn't someone like Raila, given his experience at the polls, be a better bet with all of you behind him?
I think I want to make it very clear here that we will soon come to the decision of who the NASA flag bearer is. And we all have our strengths, We may all have our shortcomings, and those will be digested and discussed in appropriate forum, and then we shall unveil the issue of the flag bearer. Going forward is that we must also remember that the demographics have brought in so many new players, new voters into the political scene, and these new voters may have very different values and considerations that they will want to take into account before they cast their vote. So truly the landscape has changed. The voter in 2007 is not necessarily going to make his decision or her decision based on the decisions that, on the issues that influenced them at that time. We, and I in particular, have been emphasizing that what is more important at this particular stage is to have a strong and united opposition, and this has come through the National Super Alliance. The cohesion that the coalition must present, we must be able to present a situation where by the time the flag bearer is coming out, the flag bearer is coming out and the message is clear that this is a united team.
You talk about unity, you talk about trust. And so here's you on various sides of the political fence. You come third in the general election after you were supposed to be the Uhuru, you approached by Uhuru, Jubilee to be the flag bearer. You then, with UDF, decide to work with them. Then you come away, you form a Mani National Congress. And then you say Kenyans have a clear choice to make in 2017. Dignity in Amani, the promise of peace, stability and prosperity, or the incompetence of Jubilee and the hypocrisy of CORD. Right? So you call the people you are now co-principals with in NASA hypocrites. Why should Kenyans trust you?
Let me put it this way, and I said this earlier. We have all had our ups and downs in politics, right? And in this context, I said at that time, before we had teamed up, I said the hypocrisy of CORD. I did not personalize anything about the core principles. Let's be sincere there. Yeah.
But CORD was formed by the principles.
Yeah, but it's the values then that I saw, or the principles of something, or some specific issues that I looked at. But more important.
You're being disingenuous with us.
No.
Yes, you're being disingenuous.
No, I would like to say this, and this is one thing I want to bring out. If you look at the checkered career, or the career of all our politicians, including me, including Raila, including Kalonzo, including Weta and others, haven't we all had certain moments where we have made moves in a particular direction? And
that's because you're looking out for your own personal selfish interests, not for the interests of the public.
Well, all politicians in Kenya have been that. Should we say that? I mean,
no, I'm putting it to you that you and your co-principal.
If you were to say that you want to analyze Kibaki from cow.
We're not analyzing Kibaki, we're analyzing you.
Now, but in there, you're making me analyze my colleagues.
No, this is you.
So what has changed about this?
These hypocrites, yes.
What has changed in CORD about the hypocrisy?
Look, the mission here, and I don't want us to lose sight of it, is that we are focused on removing the Jubilee government. All right?
And then what for Kenya?
And then we provide better leadership. We want to be able to steer by being there. We cannot, we are opposition, but we have to present the alternative. And the alternative is that we get to the position and then offer our policies to the people of Kenya.
Which takes me back to the question I asked earlier. Is it about the person at the helm, or is it about that person and the team? You said that person and the team. So it's Musalia Mudavadi and a team of hypocrites.
No. Sorry, gentlemen and lady. I will not take that. I mean, we talked about the policy around CORD. All right? I did not talk about any individual in CORD as a hypocrite.
So CORD is Wetangula, Kalonzo, and Raila.
No.
NASA is Musalia, Wetangula, Kalonzo, and Raila.
No. NASA is bigger than us. Okay? We are 4 individuals. We may, at this stage, be at the helm, but NASA is bigger than us. And when we are developing policies, we are not developing policies as 4 people. We are developing policies and programs that will involve the participation of our other members. And it's through that generation that the policies come on the table. All right? So, I may say that a policy position is hypocritical. All right? But that is very different from saying an individual is a hypocrite.
But the other side of the coin is this, that at one time or the other, Raila had very nice things to say about you.
That is it. People can say things. Sometimes maybe he's angry. Sometimes maybe he was speaking to win a particular political argument at one point in time. But that should not cloud my vision in terms of what else we can do going forward.
So we'll ask you some specific questions about how a President Musalia would behave going forward. But now we've got to take a break. This is Cheche on Citizen TV. Our SMS number is 22422 and our Twitter hashtag is Cheche. What do you make of NASA Principal Musalia Mudavadi's prospects for 2017? Would you vote for him? Tell us. I've just told you the number again. It's 22422 or Twitter Cheche.